Greetings once again, adventurers. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more Eden Zero. Previously, Universe Zero has meant ups and downs of varying degree. Those who were dead live once again. But on that same token, experiences that has helped our heroes grow have not happened yet. Developments that have strengthened them and made them better altogether, not here. And that's especially troubling as they found themselves on planet Gills going up against their old enemy, Draken Joe. An enemy that took going to an alternate universe to actually defeat. But this showdown has also proven to be a much needed rematch for some characters. Whereas Hermit originally defeated Fee of Fire, Wise is given another chance to take him down. Daichi of Earth, who Rebecca previously clashed with, is next on the menu, who was previously taken down by Sister. But Sister had an interesting idea when they were confronted by Jin and Sylph, aka Chris and Klein. Hoping to get their friends' memories back, Sister decided to tell them about what she knew of Klein's sickness, only for it to be revealed that in this universe, Klein was never sick. Which begs the question, why are they working for Draken Joe? And what will it take to trigger their friend's memory? And last but not least, whereas Shiki and Pino were expecting to come across Laguna, the last of the Element 4, that final member was a different water-based user. Shockingly enough, none other than Poseidon Nero, another member of the Oresian Says Galactica, and a powerful one at that Shiki never fought. He fought his son, but not him directly. And whereas Poseidon Nero previously had wormhole abilities, he now commands water itself. Why has such a massive change taken place? And can Shiki overcome someone he never actually took on? Especially since his powers aren't as strengthened as they should be. Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Eden Zero, Chapter 227, Power and Body. Yeah, see, that's the issue that's been alluded to. Their powers and their bodies are not caught up with their mental state. Yeah, with a little bit of training, they'd be able to get to where they need to much faster. But they are not in a capable state right now. No matter what unknowns lie ahead, they have only their bodies to compete with. A pretty cool image. Something about Rebecca and the way she's standing with her arms. Her arms look like weirdly skinny, but she got that meat where it counts, you know what I'm saying? This cute outfit. Alright, rushing into the Beliagor, the Eden Zero crew face Draken's special forces, the Element 4. However, the Element of Water who appeared before Shiki is the Oi Cosmos' Emperor, Poseidon Nero. And as Nero has a torrent of water clung to the ceiling because of Shiki's abilities, Nero and Shiki face down each other. Though Shiki is perplexed, saying, Nero? Pino comments, it is not Laguna? Nero says, Laguna? A name I've heard, though I know not where. However, he rolls his dice, saying, will I remember before you vanish, or will you vanish before I remember? I will admit, I was always disappointed that Shiki never faced off against Nero, especially since Nero, he seemed like really cool. Like, he has this weird thematic vibe to him. So having him face off against Nero here is just, I don't know, it's really cool to me. Like, getting a second chance is something I always wanted. So Shiki readies himself for what is to come. Nero says the dice will guide me to the answer, firing them off at Shiki. Shiki narrowly avoids them striking at him, but they home in on Shiki, following him. He dodges once again as they strike the ground instead of him, but they come back up through the ground. As Shiki is mid-air, Shiki tries to use his ether gear on the dice themselves, but when nothing happens, he says gravity doesn't affect him, as he's struck by all three dice. Pino cries out for Shiki as he hits the ground hard. Nero, as he summons the dice back to him, says, the Empire dice. They are a relic that preordained my victory. He catches the dice in his hand and throws them back at Shiki. They come hurtling towards Shiki, who's still on the ground, and he's unable to react as he's struck once again, all three dice grinding him harder into the floor. Shiki then struggles to get to his feet, glaring at Nero. Nero says, ho ho, you're a sturdy one, boy. Pino thinks to herself, just by looking at their ether readings, Master and Nero are approximately equal, and yet is Master not exerting his full power? But then Pino realizes, thinking his power and body are in balance. His body cannot compensate for the power he gained in the 3 years between the Aoi War and the Kaede War. Yeah, this is the handicap. This is what makes it interesting. I like that. I like that Mashima made the choice to make it so that there was a bit of a struggle here. They're getting into fights where, if they were their, future, present, whatever you want to call it, selves, their selves at the end of the previous universe, this would be a bit more of a easier fight to go up against, because they'd have a lot more power, capabilities, understanding. But here's mind and body are just not working. You might have the power, but your body doesn't know how to use it, or your body knows what to do, but the power isn't coming in the way that you want it to come. It's like a weaker computer trying to run something at reduced graphics. It's like, yeah, you can do it, but you will struggle. Shiki slowly gets to his feet as Pino thinks, does this mean the others are? And sure enough, we see Wise making his way to Fee, who's in a tall nearby building. Wise just barely manages to avoid one of Fee's sniper shots, but then he has to dodge multiple ones coming from multiple directions. He shouts, what's going on? Bullets are coming in from everywhere. Fee, having heard Wise, says, that's 'cause there's guns propped up everywhere. And as Fee gets ready to pull the trigger, aiming directly at Wise's midsection, he thinks to himself, I got your suit specs just about figured out. And suddenly Wise is hit hard in his midsection by one of Fee's shots. He screams out in pain as Fee smiles, saying, one down. Wise manages to recover mid-air, saying, damn it, I knew I couldn't get Arsenal to full performance without Hermit. Fee is shocked by this recovery, saying, oh, still alive, are ya? Suddenly, Witch gets in communication with Wise, calling out to him, calling in from the Eden Zero, observing Wise while also scoping out Iron Hill. Okay, so she's gonna be the one to get Hermit. She tells Wise, by the account you have all provided, Hermit is on Digitalis. Wise says she was originally atop some manner of bronze statue floating in space. Sister pulls off her mask, saying, I will retrieve her. Please hold out until then. Okay, I'm glad that Sister's actually doing something. Wise questions, you'll get Hermit? But Fee, readying another shot, says, the Prez ordered me not to kill him, but I don't give a crap. Meanwhile, with Rebecca and Daichi, she kicks him promptly in the face, launching Daichi to the ground, and Rebecca, not giving Daichi an inch, goes in for yet another kick while he's down, saying, take that! And then while Daichi is seemingly laid out, Rebecca turns to Happy, saying, did you see that, Happy? Happy says, aye. Rebecca says, before I met Shiki in this world, I couldn't use ether gear at all, but my power in the last world has passed down to me. Mashima's full-on foot fetish on full display. My thighs, feet, bosom. A man of culture, indeed. But Happy questions, what about time leaping? Rebecca says, I tried, but it's just as my mom said. I can't use that at all. But when I'm on a new game plus round, mowing down enemies feels so amazing I can't take it, as she kicks Daichi in the face yet again. But Daichi, he tanks the hit, questioning, was that something about a game? This shocks Rebecca, but Daichi continues this conversation, saying, I like games too, maxing out my level and pounding the last boss. But for games you've played before, every time you play again, the enemies get stronger. Rebecca suddenly finds herself wrapped up in Daichi's roots that he summoned from the ground. Happy calls out to her as she's bound, because you can't have a Rebecca fight without her having some kind of bondage situation. And as Rebecca is restrained, Daichi says, continuing the conversation, you unlock stuff on your second round all the time. Stuff like very hard mode. Oof, that's a good point. And Rebecca cries out as the branches surrounding her squeeze her tighter and tighter. Daichi then tells her, I'm bored now. You're way too weak to torture. Feels good though. So the struggle is on for the crew of Edens as we pick back up with Shiki, who is exhausted to say the least, but he's standing his ground as Nero goes in for another attack. Nero sends his dice, but Shiki manages to form a warp portal that he jumps through, shocking Nero, as Shiki appears behind Nero, readying a strike, but Nero manages to counter the strike, unfortunately. Nero says, "Wormhole? Why do you have my power?" So he still has the wormhole powers in this universe. I'm surprised he's not using it, though. I guess he'd only use it if he has to, or he hasn't even really activated his ether gear, right? That's what the wormhole powers come from, if I remember correctly. But as Shiki lands, he questions, "You're the Oi Cosmos' emperor, aren't you? What are you doing what are you working under Draken Joe for?" Nero says, "Emperor, I stepped down from that throne long ago. I chose to spend my retirement here. That was when Draken and I became joint managers. Draken being president is only how it appears to the public." Oh, so Nero's a shadow boss. Pino questions, "So the Empire has already fallen in this world's Oi Cosmos then?" Nero questions, "What are you talking about? The Empire has prospered since my rule, under my son, Emperor Shura. I have to wonder, what's he like in this universe? Is he as sadistic as before? Or maybe through actually being a ruler he mellowed out a bit? It's really hard to tell with this universe. The universe for sure rules the Oi Cosmos. Naturally, Shiki is shocked to hear Shura's name, but Nero continues saying, "Of course, I remember now. The name Laguna. It belongs to the leader of Oasis. So it's not the big cat dude. I wonder what happened to him. Or maybe it's just that Laguna stayed in the Oi Cosmos to fight instead of running." Nero says, "An organization that plots to rebel against the Empire. The power structure in this world has changed. As Shiki's confusion mounts over the shocking truth, where will their battle against the Element 4 lead?" Seriously, I love this. Because it really does play with your knowledge of the previous universe. Like, are these changes a positive? Are they a negative? Or the fact that our heroes are here without having, essentially leveled up and gaining the EXP? Is that good? They have the knowledge and a rudimentary understanding of the skills, but they can't unleash it the way they want to. Hopefully Witch is able to awaken Hermit's memories. We didn't even pick up with what Sister was going through with Chris and Klein. And it is unfortunate. I honestly would kind of feel sad if Wise and Rebecca lost these fights again. Because I really thought this would be a great time for them to overcome these enemies they couldn't defeat in the past. But I think that's why isn't Rebecca just... I said it when I was watching the anime, they're not my all-time favorite characters, and they don't always feel the greatest, and I think that's because so often they end up the jobbers. They lose so that the shining stars can come in and defeat the villains and stuff like that. It's not a bad thing, it's just, you want to see them win from time to time, and it's usually only against the lower members. But it always feels like to me that since they're the more primary characters, they should get a lot more wins than they do. But maybe they have, and I've just been overthinking that, I know Wise says he needs Hermit, but I would have loved to have seen him overcome this himself. Yeah, I want to see Rebecca get out of her situation with Daichi herself. I like seeing Shiki struggling against Nero, who he's never really fought before. And I have to wonder, once we get to the Oi Cosmos, how will things go down? Because a lot of really traumatic stuff happened in the Oi Cosmos. So I'm curious about that too, man. There's so many interesting angles going on here. Like, Eden Zero is hitting that peak. It is at its peak right now. Because it's just thrilling from chapter to chapter. I'm always interested by what's happening next. I'm always interested in the directions, the twists, the turns. Like, by retreading the familiar, you've remade it and reworked it and made it intriguing all over again. Man, good stuff. Mashima has played with stuff like this, like time loops, time travel, rewinding time, redoing situations, but this feels like he just completely figured things out. And this is a situation where it's just like, yeah, this is showing off why him planning this out from the jump really worked. Man, loving it. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you feel about any of my points? Wise and Rebecca, I really do want them to overcome their situations by themselves, but what do you think? And how do you feel about Shura ruling the Oi Cosmos and Laguna being a rebel leader? Can things maybe work out a little bit different this time? And will Witch be able to get Hermit back in time? Let me know your thoughts. Also remember to subscribe, that way you don't miss out on the next video. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.